All right, welcome to the Beam, where curiosity meets conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and today we'll be dissecting a few issues at the intersection where tech meets soccer, football. But before we take you there, we'll be bringing you right now spotlights, and afterwards we'll be introducing our weekly quick tech updates. It's a bumper pack, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Stay with us. Technology leaders from across the continent and around the world are of the opinion that Africa must leverage technology to promote inclusive education that supports the continent's burgeoning youth population. At a recent educational tech conference in Abuja, put together by the MasterCard Foundation and the federal government, thought leaders assert that only an inclusive education powered by technology can see Africa's youths succeed exceedingly in the digital age. Education Minister Professor Tahir Maman says digitization is very important to the transformation in the education sector and is being incorporated into the curriculum.
You are talking about formal education now. We are also planning to, as part of the adults program we are pursuing, digitalization is part of the skilling, and we'll be in control of the contents. We are developing a curriculum which will be concluded by end of August, ready for implementation by all schools in Nigeria from September.
The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy notes that Nigerians and Africans need not fear that technology will take away their jobs.
And when you move it away to your first question, which is about how technology threatens jobs in the country, I think it's actually contrary. It's the other way for Africa. The reason being that the biggest challenge that we face as a people is the level of productivity across our key sectors. When you look at agriculture, or you look at manufacturing, you look at transportation, even education, we're still operating at below where we should be, which means even the jobs that we're meant to create in agriculture, we're currently unable to create it because we're not moving at the level that we should be. And when technology becomes ubiquitous, what you will find is that a lot of our sectors will become a lot more competitive. If we start to use drones, sensors, precision technologies in agriculture, Nigeria will be able to cultivate more land, will be able to produce more food, and the number of jobs in agriculture will go up. If we start to use technology in education, a lot of our young people that are out of school will now have the opportunity to be enlightened, whether they are within school or they go to community centers where they have technology will give them the opportunity, and we'll now start creating more jobs. So to the contrary, for Africa, technology will raise productivity in more of our sectors, which means we'll be creating more jobs.
On his part, Professor Peter Materu, the CPO of MasterCard Foundation, says the conference aims at navigating the possibilities of leveraging technology in building systems for inclusive learning across the continent.
And what we are saying is there is a possibility to leverage technology to build systems that learners can use to access learning, even when there is a shock like COVID or any other type of shock. So this is what this conference is about. Bring together those who are the key actors in this space. See, first of all, what is it that already exists that we can together leverage, but also how can we collaborate better so that in future we can have many more solutions that reach the majority of the people.
The result here is that by harnessing technology, Africa can find ways to drive educational and financial inclusion amid the continent's rapid growth in the digital economy.
Yes, we can take quick pictures. We're going to also have something very interesting. We'd like a picture of...
Hello and welcome. Here is a quick tech update for the week. The National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill has successfully passed its first reading in the House of Representatives, sponsored by Adedeji Olajide, Chairman of the House Committee on Digital and Information Technology. The bill seeks to establish a legal framework for the digital economy's development and regulation. Olajide, representing Ibadan Northwest and Ibadan Southwest Federal Constituency of Oyo State, expresses enthusiasm for this milestone, saying the bill's passage could significantly boost Nigeria's economic growth and development. Now, in the meantime, the National Information Technology Development Agency has recently identified 4 malicious apps targeting Android users in Nigeria. Now, these apps, Nita says, are found to contain malwares that can lead to activities such as information theft, crypto mining, and spying on users. The application includes crazy games, sexy videos, TikToks, and weapons. In another development, Samsung Electronics' largest labor union in South Korea has declared an indefinite strike after a 3-day walkout over pay and bonuses yielded no progress. Now, the strike announced on Wednesday involves 6,000 workers, primarily from the semiconductor division. The National Samsung Electronics Union stated that its 31,000 members, nearly a quarter of the company's domestic workforce, will embark on this strike, an action which they say the company will regret for not negotiating. Meanwhile, Elon Musk won a dismissal of a lawsuit accusing him of withholding $500 million in severance from thousands of Twitter employees fired after he bought the company now known as X. U.S. District Judge Trina Thompson ruled on Tuesday that the Federal Employee Retirement Income Security Act did not cover the claims, leaving her without jurisdiction. Now, the drive towards a digital economy comes at an environmental cost. The United Nations warned on Wednesday with big data centers consuming vast amounts of water and energy. While digitalization fuels global economic growth, its environmental repercussions are becoming increasingly severe.
It's a welcome and necessary driver of global economic growth. But we need to do it in an inclusive and sustainable way. As rapid digitalization escalate environmental concerns is now more urgent than ever.
The agency called for sustainable strategies to counter the growing environmental toll, particularly in developing countries.
So we can close the gaps, we can widen the opportunities, and we can manage properly the impact on the environment.
And that's your quick tech update for this week. Stay tuned for more insights into the ever-evolving world of technology. I'll see you next time.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is The Beam, and today we are looking at the future of football, even as we examine the role of technology in the Euro and Copa 2024. I have two guests with me, and right here in the studio, I have Arabinrin Aderunke, a journalist and political analyst, policy analyst rather, who is a champion in using sports for development. And then also joining us in our Lagos studio is Babajide Oreva, a CAF-accredited journalist, digital publishing expert, and sport analyst who is going to be taking a deep dive into the tech world when it comes to sports. You guys are welcome today.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you.
All right, thank you. Babajide, are you with us?
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's start with the lady. Arabinrin, we just seen a spectacular show when it comes to the Copa and when it comes to the Euros. In your assessment, how much of tech made this show spectacular and beautiful?
Yeah, I think that for fairness, I would say that tech has really made it a good one. No one will go on the street to complain about cheating or, or favoritism because of the use of technology. Tech is here, data is here, and it's our future, it's our reality, present and the future. So it has really helped football, especially the recently concluded tournament that we all watch and all that. So I think that introduction of the semi-automated technology and also the AVAR, we have a VAR, the video assistant referee. We also have the assistant video assistant referee as well that was newly introduced to this tournament. So it's made it fair. No one can go out there now to complain. So technology has really helped in terms of officiating, in terms of even tracking the players' health, tracking of their heartbeat, their nutrition, the calories they take, and all of that. So I think it has really helped looking at the recently concluded tournament.
All right, let me come to you, Babajide. You've just heard what Arabinrin says. What's your take as regards the use of tech when it comes to the Euros and the Copa event which we have just concluded?
Okay, so I'm concerned how the referees in the VAR room, how how they are applying this technology, how they understand it, how they interpret in Euros and in the Copa America, 4 indices were used for VAR to check the goals, to see the incidents around the penalty area. Of course, the red cards and then mistaken identity, whereby maybe a referee had given a player possibly a yellow card, but it might be different. So, but how the referees are applying it is what I'm concerned about, because these days you get controversial decisions, and it happened in the Euros. There were as much as 51 calls from VAR. Then I was stunned that no decision from the VAR was rejected by any referee at the Euros. I remember in AFCON when you remember when we played South Africa, when Nigeria played South Africa, Osimhen scored a goal which would have given us the winner, the second goal. But prior to that goal, there was an incident involving Pesitao and Alassane Yusuf, whereby he had tripped the player. You could see how it was actually interpreted. So, but now I see there were more calls. Yes, there's a Cucurella, a handball, and all that. So I hope in the long run, technology will be able to be properly applied. If you look at offsides, for example, this is what I think. There is a millisecond whereby that time the ball is being taken away from the player, and then if you look at the position of the player, maybe taking the ball, anything could change, even in milliseconds. So I hope in the future, referees will be able to get it right.
Right, so you're saying some things were not totally balanced. So you can hear that argument. I mean, now the question is, in real sense, were there sometimes you felt the referees and the linesmen could have taken certain decisions and would have just done away with tech? Were there sometimes you thought about that?
I think that tech should be applied, or yes, the linesmen or the referees could have their own decision based on their profession and what they think is right. But I think that we should, if it could be advanced or it could be developed over time, we should allow tech to take charge, AI to take charge, just for us to make sure that maybe the mechanism that goes into perfecting it is right. So personally, I think tech should be allowed to be for officiating. It will help to enhance officiating, even skills. It will help accuracy and all of that as well. So following what Babajide just said, like some are not accurate. I check people's opinion. We are both sport people. We follow up on all of that. So a lot of people are actually happy with this year's. I personally think we are not there yet, but it can be better.
All right.
But looking at the officiating of the recently concluded Copa and Copa America and Euro 2024, I think that it's a good one, it's a welcome development. And if you allow me to digress a little bit, talk about CAF, AFCON, and I recall how much people really, welcome the fact that even appreciate CAF for using technology. At the recently concluded, it's not really recent actually.
Yeah, it's almost recent. It's like the last one.
Yeah,
right?
it's still so I mean, it was 100% good. Technology was used for ticketing, for almost everything, even the stadium that was used for the matches, for the fans, for officiating and all of that. It was just very good, very perfect and all of that. Of course, in football, there are still people that will pick certain things out, but it was good. So technology is there, it's here to stay, and I think it can be better, but for this recently concluded tournament, I think we're good to go.
All right, let me stay with you in just 1 minute. For a woman, how much do you think you needed more women to be involved in these tournaments?
I think that we need to create more awareness. People in the media, it's our work to create awareness. How many media news or reporters are targeted at women as well? Because sometimes there are platforms that women also love to go, apart from sports, maybe academics, maybe entertainment, maybe fashion and all of that. How are we using the focus of women, the women's target, women's choice platforms to also preach sports? It's not all about looking, shedding your weight, about the flat tummy, the tummy blast and all of that. It's not about health and wellness. What about being a true fan? So we need to create awareness campaign that targets women.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, Babajide will be going deeper into the analysis of some of those things that took place as regards VAR and the referees. Don't go away. Stay with us. All right, welcome. You're still watching The Beam, and I'm going straight to Babajide down there in our studios in Lagos. I want you to go into an analysis of, what's a total general view of the tournaments we have just seen, especially looking at some of the breaches here and there. What would you say, in general, went and played, took part in this whole process? What would you say went down?
Okay, so tournaments like this are so big. It involves nations, and some decisions by the referee, they make great impact in determining the outcome of such results. Let's take a look at England versus Netherlands in the semi-finals. We saw when Harry Kane tried to hit the ball, a bouncing ball in the 18-yard area, and then Dumfries tried to tackle him, but somehow there was a contact. Referee was play on, but after some time, VAR called for a review, and the referee went for an on-field review. If you look at it critically, you just say, okay, this could be a 50-50 situation, but eventually it was awarded for England, and then there was a penalty. So this means that decision has a great impact in influencing the outcome of the match result. Also in the Copa America, I remember Chile, they were really, they even had to write FIFA that there was a goal, there was a red card that was given to one of their players, and they feel earlier in the match, there was an elbow against their player, which, but the referee had waved play on. So my thought is just that I agree, technology has come to stay in football, and just like Aderonke said, it should be enhanced. However, for me, there are some aspects of the game that I feel let's just enjoy it. You see, football is becoming much more electronical, whereby you see the expression of players, you see lots of things. So I hope it will be enhanced, and sometimes some of these things, some of these decisions, they might favor you today, but you just want these decisions, this technology to be properly applied in making these decisions.
I think that's a good way to put it. Let's come back to you back here in the studio, Aderonke. Let's go to the big story, because everybody wants to know. In a few weeks from now, we're going to be crowning a Ballon d'Or somewhere, somehow. We have those guys who are listed. Who do you think and who do you not think should be in that list, at least top 5? And who do you even think should clinch it?
I think that, to be honest, I don't think Ballon d'Or determines the best player.
Wow.
Yes, I think that we need to start looking towards Africa as well. We have our league here. We have, I'm sorry, I have to say this. I mean, I'm not really, because Ballon d'Or has, over the years, focused on Europe and all of that. What about the African League? We have big teams also in Africa.
But they can argue that our league is so substandard, and when they carry players to play maybe World Club Cup, you see the performance is shabby.
Yeah, I know, but there are still good players, regardless of their talent. So can we start talking about how can we bring Ballon d'Or to Africa? How can we at least nominate one of the players? I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about Africa, North Africa. The North Africans they are doing very well. As you know, the South African, leagues also, they are doing so well. I think those two, I have to commend them in Africa so far. They're even doing better than West Africa and, the East Africa and all of that. But what about even the North Africa or the South Africa now? I don't want to talk about South Africa, West Africa, because I'm from West Africa. So can we talk about Ballon d'Or looking? So I would love to ask Babajide, what are the leagues that we need to look at? What league? Because Ballon d'Or is there. We are always celebrating, yes, Europe and all of that. What about us? What about Yimba? Let me tell you, what about Alali? So that is, or do we have that? Which one of the African players can we nominate or for the Ballon d'Or?
That's what you get when you bring a journalist on the program. So Babajide, we're coming over to you now. The target is you right now. So let's ask you, what do you think Ballon d'Or in a few weeks from now? What do you think?
Goes to
Are you
Europe.
There?
Yeah, I can hear you. Ballon d'Or, we know we always go to Europe, and of course, Real Madrid are the Champions League winners. I was asked earlier in one of the programs, and I didn't mince words. It will likely go to Vinicius. Also, although I expect now that Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe Messi will come into the conversation again just because he has won the Copa America again earlier. So. But I feel Vinicius now. I'm sad that I thought it would have been maybe Mbappe will come into the discussion. I also know that there had been talks about Jude Bellingham coming, and I said, "Oh, this is." Just
ask you, why are you writing of Jude Bellingham?
Okay, so
why you write of Jude
Bellingham also had this opportunity. Now we saw him at Euros, and you will see that he didn't have that spark. Personally, the Victor Osimhen of 2 seasons ago should have been, if you are bringing this Jude Bellingham of this season to the Ballon d'Or conversation, then Victor Osimhen deserves to be in such a conversation because we know what the boy did all through that period. So at this point, but nothing to take away. I feel it's time for Vinicius. Sadly, Brazil didn't do so much at the Copa America, but he has done so well for Real Madrid. But maybe let's hope. But I feel Vinicius will just take it.
All right, Vinicius, he's on the Vinicius train. Okay, so I think we have to wrap up now. What would be your final take, and what would be your final say when it comes to Africa Tech and the future of the game?
Okay, so I really think, first of all, I have to say it again. I want to commend CAF for doing so well during the last AFCON, and I believe that they will do better also for the AFCON too. That's the Women Cup of Nations as well. I believe the energy they put into AFCON, I'm going to go for gender right now. The energy they put into AFCON, the promotion, the welfare package, the relevance, the support, they should put the same energy into the Women's Cup of Nations.
All right. That's a good take. Babajide, can we have your final word as regards where the future of this game lies, especially from the African side?
Okay, I'm still on this. As much as you want technology, but I feel some parts of the football game, especially some actions, not everything should be monitored as regards technology otherwise, because I'm beginning not to enjoy football like I used to some decades back.
All right. Okay, Babajide is beginning not to enjoy the game the same way we know it, but it's fine. Technology has come to stay. Thank you guys for coming on the program today.
Thank you, Sunes.
Thank you so much.
All right, there you have it. That's all the talk on this episode of The Beam. Thank you for always joining us, and I'm hoping that even as tech continues to evolve, we continue to enjoy this beautiful game. Thank you. Bye for now.
This week's countdown begins with the heartbreaking story of a building collapse in Plateau State. In fourth place is a clip in which senior lawyer Michael Zekome weighs in on the local government autonomy controversy.
Shredded.
Still on the local government autonomy issue, in third place we have senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, arguing that the Supreme Court, in its judgment, is advancing the struggle for public accountability.
Make a law to enable local government to participate in the economic planning of that state. And as a matter of fact, there shall be an economic board.
Taking the second spot on Countdown is a clip from the ECOWAS summit, where President Tinubu demanded financial commitment of member states to fight terrorism.
Dr. Omar Ture, President.
At the top of the countdown is this video that shows the drama which went down when lawmakers questioned the Minister of Women Affairs, Mr. Ju Kennedy Ohaneye.
That I said 2020 I was not there, and you said you took an excuse. I'm just trying to put something straight. The procurement officer has made it clear that by procurement law, before they even award the contract, they will ensure that there is fund to fund that job. So apparently the money was there. So why were they not paid? Please, I just want the answer straight. Don't waste our time.